Good afternoon and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here this afternoon with Fred and Katore, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is her ability to understand and respond to her obedience commands. The little corrections and lots of motivation that we give her when we're working with her, and the training equipment that we're using. Fred is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and he keeps the bulk of that leash folded in his right hand. That leaves the left hand free to give the correction, and the only correction that we give is a little tug and let go on the training collar, and that is the second piece of equipment that we're using. Katore is coming home with her very own training equipment, and you'll be taught how to use that properly during your follow-up training session. Now, if you notice, she's sitting very nicely at Fred's left, which is where all of our obedience training is done, and the first exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you is heeling. The command is Katore heel. We offer her a lot of praise to keep her motivated, and this is proper leash walking. And each time that you stop your feet, she's been taught to sit automatically and wait for her next command. This makes walking your dog a pleasure. You never have to get dragged down the street anymore, and when you stop to talk to a neighbor or stop to cross traffic, she's sitting very nicely at your left and waiting for her next command. Very nicely done. Now the next exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you is the stay. The stay is a hand and voice command, and it is a one-word command. The long sit stay when you're practicing at home is for 1 minute, working up to 3 minutes. This helps to develop her attention span and maturity. When Fred returns back to her, he will walk all the way around her for an additional distraction, returning all the way back around to heel, and then he praises her for a good job, and they take off heeling again. So this is your basic heel on leash, your automatic sits, and you have to praise her up or she looks like she's sad. Fred leaves her in a stay. And your sit stays and your other stays are very important. They help to develop focus and maturity, especially with the puppy. This time, instead of returning to her, Fred's going to call her. He uses her name and a happy voice, and she comes and she sits right in front of him facing his knees so that she's not jumping all over you. Very nicely done. And Fred will demonstrate that come command again for you. He leaves her in a sit and a stay. And then he calls her in. He tells her she's a good girl on the way in, and she comes right in front and sits facing his knees. Very nicely done. And back to heel and back sitting. Good girl. Now the next exercises that we're going to demonstrate for you are your down commands, and there are 2 of those. The first one that we're going to demonstrate is your down from heel position. So with your dog seated at your left, you're going to take your open flat of your left palm straight down toward the ground and the one-word firm command to down. And then leave her in a stay. The long down stay is for 3 minutes, working up to 5 minutes. And you can both put your dogs on leash and work right in the house. You don't have to go outside to practice obedience. When Fred returns back to her, he will walk all the way around her, just as he did on the sit stay. As an additional distraction, she should remain seated. He praises her, and then we're going to demonstrate that down from a heel position one more time. So with your dog seated at your left, straight down toward the ground, one-word command to down. And this time Fred will call her out of that exercise. Nice sit in front, and then she returns back to heel and back sitting. Very good girl. Now the very last exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you with Katore is her down from a distance. This is a little bit harder exercise because you're not right next to the dog. With your dog seated at your left, you leave her in a stay. You walk away from her and face her. Use your right hand to give the command, and you tell her to down. Perfectly done. It's your down from a distance. Now we've demonstrated your heel, your automatic sit, your stay, your down from a distance, and your come. These are the exercises that we're going to have you practice with both dogs when you get them home. She has done a really good job here at school. We'll be back with your little puppy and show you what he's learned. Thank you for choosing Nora's Dog Training Company.